welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyle Martin. In today's video, we got a few different fun activities to check out. The first thing we're gonna do is head into Baraboo for a little plein air painting. It's springtime. Baraboo is a beautiful place to paint. And I have a workshop coming up next weekend that I've been getting ready for. It's a color workshop. I get a lot of questions how I mix colors, how I see colors. I made a video that talks all about color, and it has a demonstration of painting a pear, a simple still life, under two different source lights. This is a video that I'm going to have on my web store in the next couple of weeks. We have a preview of it at the end of today's video. Let's head into Baraboo. Let's check out the first painting. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another beautiful springtime day in Baraboo. I had a little bit of good luck yesterday. I actually sold the painting that I did yesterday, kind of. I was working on a painting of somebody's house here in Baraboo, and the owner came out and said that he'd be interested in seeing it when it was finished, so I framed it up and I took it back to him today. I did a painting of his house a couple years ago, and I had that painting along with me as well. He was actually interested in purchasing the painting that I did a couple of years ago. I think it was back in 2017 that I did that painting. It was a painting that I had hanging in my house. I can put an image of it in the video here because I did manage to grab a photo. What better way to celebrate than to get back out and do a little more plein air painting. Right behind me you can see that there's service berries in bloom. There's buds on all the trees around me. But today's subject matter is going to be this lovely white house right behind me with the magnolia tree. I've already taken time and created a value sketch of the scene. I observed the scene. I took a look at my subject matter through these red lens glasses, and I recorded the contrast of dark and light in my sketchbook with markers. These are the grayscale markers that I use, and I'm always talking about how I love to warm my arm up by doing a value sketch. In today's situation, it really was eye-opening for me to do this because I didn't really know what value the magnolia tree was going to be, and I didn't know that the grass was going to be so dark in today's painting that it was going to be darker than the magnolia tree. I didn't know what value the sky was going to be until I put those value glasses on and observed my scene only in terms of dark and light. For those of us who are interested in painting the light and painting the effect of sunlight, we need to be able to understand our value structure, our relationships of dark and light in our paintings. So I just took a little bit of time and created this value sketch. I'm going to mix the colors that I see, and I'm going to do so and check my values according to this grayscale value palette that I have. I'm going to start mixing. The lightest color that I observed up there was the white color of the house. I have a color isolator here. I'm observing the color of the house, and I'm holding my palette knife up to that little hole, and it helps me to isolate just color by color what I'm seeing up there so that I can mix the appropriate color. We have Anna Horrius here with us today. Awesome day of painting. You can get a good feel for how the painting wound up. I was just telling my friends who live in this house right behind me that this is my time of year. All these bright and cheery spring-like colors, and they're high-key colors. And you can see on my palette, I buy them in the tube, bright and happy, just how they are. And I love using them. And I love painting springtime. This is all circus houses out over in this neighborhood. It's a beautiful neighborhood on a beautiful day. I'm just gonna throw all this stuff in my car. I'll organize it later tonight, and I'll check in with you guys real soon. All right, have a good day. Part of the fun with that session was getting out of there just as we were getting kicked out. Basically, just as we were getting kicked out. And we're grabbing a little lunch. Everything's in bloom. We had veggie burgers and fries, and it was really good. And now we're just gonna go check out the bookstore and walk up towards the Capitol. Okay, I just pulled the car over and I'm looking to see if my stuff is in here. Hoping I can film today. You can see right behind me, right there's a little backlit magnolia tree. I painted a backlit tree the other day. It was a magnolia also, and I was really pleased with the way that it came out, and I think that I can kind of remember what I was doing that day and build on it and just try it again and just have another nice evening of painting. It's kind of partially cloudy, so I'm just going to set my things up and get going as quickly as possible. I'm going to skip the value sketch, but I'll check in a little bit. I mixed up the colors on my palette, and right behind me you can see that the light is looking lovely on the magnolia tree. The painting is sketched in. I'm going to use a big brush. I'm going to state these masses as quickly as possible. That way I'm going to have time left during the second half of the painting session to add a lot of the color shifts and a lot of the magic and sparkle of springtime. Here's the painting. The light is failing me. I worked for 1 hour. I know because I was listening to a podcast and it was 1 hour and 1 minute long, and I finished this painting. Monet and the Impressionists were the first people who took this idea of painting using the actual colors that your eye is seeing. Hue, value, and intensity. Hue is the name of the color. Is this a red that leans orange, or is this more of a violet leaning red? And your job for the day is to name the little color chips that you pick out when you're gonna paint your kitchen or your dining room. Is it seafoam? Is it mint? Is it crocodile? Is it algae? Is it basil? It's fun to name colors and there's no right or wrong. But take into consideration the color temperature when you're naming the color. Of color is value. Value defines how light or dark a color is. If you want to be able to paint the light, you're going to want to pay close attention to what value each of the colors are. The reason that you want to reduce your subject to its most simple masses is so that you have a starting point. When you're building a house, you want to have a good foundation before you start building the walls. And it's the same with painting. You need a good, solid foundation in your painting before you start to add any details. We're going to start out with block 1, the observation. How do you view your subject? How do you observe your subject? What is a good subject? All these things are going to be covered in block 1, the observation. If you're plein air painting, find an object that is in full sun where you can see the light illuminating part of it and the other part of it falling into shadow. Draw the outer contours of your subject matter onto your paper using a sight-size technique. But the first thing that you want to do is you want to an easily seen point, approximately 6 centimeters. Draw in here. Okay, so I'm just measuring. All indicated in today's painting, we want to keep all of them. I could definitely work from this. That's my value pattern. The most important aspect of color is the value. Up and I can isolate just that tip of red on the intensity is right and the value. The hue family is violet. I don't know if that was enough. I think a little bit more would probably do it. So I'll script a yellow that point away from each other to create that and it has to be a neutral turquoise green color. Precious with anything that to be, and they would paint the model from direct observation, the palette knife or the painting knife, in the same way that we're doing. I'm observing it as always. Slightly more yellow, so I've added a little bit of yellow color. Just want to raise the color slightly. and also their value. Value means how light or... Nature does the same thing. 2 or 3 color shifts to each of your major masses, you're going to be